Hello and welcome here. Michael Keaton was completely let down by both the MCU and DCU. In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Keaton plays the Vulture, a sympathetic villain who was Peter Parker's Spider-Man's first significant opponent in Spider-Man: Homecoming. In the DC Extended Universe, Keaton's Bruce Wayne was coaxed out of retirement to don the cowl and cape once more as Batman as shown in The Flash, consenting to assist Barry Allen in mending the timeline's cracks. However, Keaton ultimately failed in both of his jobs. At first, Keaton's participation in both the MCU and DCEU was fantastic and thrilling. One of the finest villains in the MCU, the Vulture has a fascinating backstory and a fiery rivalry with Peter Parker. The anticipation for Keaton's comeback as Batman in The Flash was also high because he had previously portrayed the Dark Knight in 31 years of Tim Burton movies. But even though Batman and Vulture made the exact same mistakes, they could both be corrected in the same way. Keaton's Vulture became a victim of the multiversal mayhem that took place in 2021's Spider-Man: No Way Home despite being imprisoned in the MCU ever since the events of 2017's Spider-Man: Homecoming. Although Tooms became what 2023's Around the Spider-Verse refers to as an anomaly, creatures that are arbitrarily flung around time and space as a result of multiversal meddling, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange were able to patch the hole in reality they unintentionally caused. In Vulture's case, this meant being taken to the Sony world that was visible at the conclusion of Morbius in the year 2022. The implementation of the Vulture's world hop, however, raised a number of issues, like why the Vulture went looking for Morbius in the first place, why he immediately assumed Spider-Man was to blame, and why Morbius would be interested in working with Tooms or care about Spider-Man. This first attempt with Vulture was laughable, especially since there were initial plans to have Keaton's Vitae appear in No Way Home, but it was ultimately scrapped, even though the goal seemed to be an attempt by Sony to haphazardly build the foundations for an eventual Sinister Six villain movie they've been trying to make for years. In a similar way, Keaton's Batman ultimately failed DC's universe as well. Batman agreed to aid Barry far too soon, instead of taking the time to properly research what had happened to Bruce Wayne and other intriguing riddles, including why he resigned. The majority of Batman's appearances in The Flash were also action-oriented. While physically appealing, the character was given very little depth, making Keaton's reappearance very lackluster. The multiverse effectively turned Keaton's Batman into a talking, walking prop solely for nostalgic reasons rather than advancing the story in any significant or long-lasting way, despite the fact that he might have been incredibly engaging. The MCU and DCEU roles played by Michael Keaton serve as excellent illustrations of how to use the universe incorrectly. The multiverse as a notion, however, is not inherently flawed. Both the story and the multiverse have the ability to put both characters back on track, but through more deliberate and rewarding means. Despite the difficult beginning shown in Morbius, Keaton might potentially return to the MCU with allies. Barry Allen's creation of a new and improved DC chronology means that, despite being slain at the end of The Flash, Keaton's demise as Batman isn't inevitable. He could someday benefit significantly more from a future DCU initiative. After all, before Warner Bros. Completely altered its plans, Keaton was slated to replace Batman in the DC universe. Hopefully, the MCU and DCU will be able to make amends for both of Michael Keaton's roles in the future. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. See you soon.